crack runs through the ice, sharp, sudden. Somewhere in northern Canada, a frozen lake groans under its own weight. In a few weeks, that surface will hold nothing. This film follows two families through the end of a Canadian winter. A grizzly bear mother emerging from months of hibernation with two small cubs, and a gray wolf pack crossing a frozen plain with a young wolf struggling to keep pace. Both stories share one question. When food is scarce and the cold refuses to ease, what does it take to keep the next generation alive?
Late winter, the coast mountains of British Columbia. Snow still buries the upper slopes. In places, it's deep enough to swallow a standing person. The valleys below remain locked in frost. Rivers silent. No salmon. No easy food. Beneath a hillside, inside a den hollowed out months ago, a female grizzly bear shifts in the darkness. She has been in torpor since late autumn. Heart rate slowed, body temperature dropped, surviving on stored fat. Sometime in midwinter, while still inside the den, she gave birth. Two cubs now press against her belly, small enough to fit in your hands, born blind with thin fur, entirely dependent on her warmth and milk. The entrance to the den glows faintly. Outside, the air is sharp and thin. She rises. Her muscles have weakened over the long sleep. Her fat reserves are low. The cubs, eyes open now, still unsteady, follow her toward the light. The first breath of outside air carries wet snow and pine resin. One cub tumbles in the soft powder near the entrance. The other hesitates, blinking against the brightness. For the mother, this is where the work begins. Cub survival in grizzly bears varies widely, by region, by year, by food availability, but a significant number don't make it through the first 12 months. Starvation is one cause. Predation by adult male grizzlies is another. She pauses at the edge of a clearing, nose lifted. The wind carries scent, direction, risk. Her ears rotate, catching the creak of a branch somewhere under snow. No threat, not yet. She begins to dig. Long, curved claws break through the icy crust. Beneath it, frozen roots, old sedges, maybe a few berries preserved by the cold. Not much, but something. The cubs watch from a few meters away. They don't understand what she's looking for. They won't, not for a while. But over the next 2 to 3 years, if they survive, they'll learn exactly this: how to find food when the land seems to offer nothing. She moves downhill, pausing often. The cubs follow in her tracks, their small bodies sinking into the snow she's already packed down. The days are getting longer. The rivers will eventually open. Salmon will return. Maybe late spring, maybe later. Until then, every calorie matters. She stops beside a fallen log, sniffs the bark, moves on. Behind her, the cubs scramble to catch up.
Far to the north, the edge of the boreal forest where trees thin out and tundra takes over, a pack of gray wolves moves across a frozen plain, 7 animals traveling single file through chest-deep snow in the drifts. At the front, the breeding female. She breaks trail. Behind her, the rest of the pack steps precisely in her tracks, a simple way to conserve energy when every step costs heat. Near the back, a young wolf struggles. Born the previous spring, this pup is almost a year old, nearly adult size now, but still building the endurance of the older wolves. The cold here is severe. In this part of Canada, winter temperatures can drop well below -30, sometimes lower. Wind strips warmth from exposed fur fast. The snow underfoot squeaks with each step, the way it only does when ice crystals are too cold to compress quietly. The pack hasn't eaten in several days. In winter, they rely on caribou, large prey, calorie-dense, capable of sustaining the group if the hunt succeeds. But caribou are difficult, fast, alert. They move in herds, and the herd watches together. The wolves crest a low ridge. Below, a group of caribou grazing near a frozen riverbed. 40 animals, maybe more, breath rising in pale columns against the gray sky. The breeding female slows, her ears turned forward. The wolves behind her go still, bodies low, eyes locked on the herd. No sound. Wolves rarely vocalize when hunting. They communicate through posture, gaze, small shifts in weight. The caribou haven't noticed. The wind favors the wolves. She begins to move again, not running, trotting, closing distance without triggering panic. Then the herd bolts. The wolves accelerate, the caribou scatter, but one animal, older perhaps, or carrying some unseen weakness, falls behind the others. The pack focuses. The young wolf tries to keep up. His legs churn, his breath comes fast, vapor trailing. He falls further back. The chase stretches nearly a kilometer. Then it ends. The wolves bring the caribou down. These moments are rarely clean, but they are usually brief. What happens next is telling. The breeding female doesn't immediately eat. She pulls a piece of meat from the carcass, carries it a short distance, and drops it near the young wolf, who has only now arrived, panting hard, sides heaving. Wolves provision their young. Breeding adults share food with pups and juveniles still learning to hunt. It's not unusual. It's how the pack sustains itself across generations. The pup eats. The others feed nearby, quickly, without conflict. Within the hour, most of the carcass is gone. The wolves rest briefly in the snow, then rise and continue north. The pup follows, slower now, but fed, still part of the group.
Two landscapes, two families, the same pressure. In the mountains, a grizzly mother digs through snow while her cubs watch. She can't explain what she's doing. She can only show them again and again until they begin to understand. On the tundra, a wolf pack moves as one because no single wolf could survive out here alone. The young are fed not just by instinct, but by a social structure built around the group's future. Spring will come, rivers will open, caribou will drift north with the warming ground, and somewhere in the receding snow, two grizzly cubs will dig their first roots. A young wolf will finish a chase without falling behind. Not all of them will make it. That's the nature of these odds. But late one afternoon, light stretching long across the land, meltwater running beneath the ice, the ones who've made it will still be moving. A grizzly cub lifts its head. Somewhere nearby, its mother is digging. It walks over, watches, then for the first time starts to dig too. That's wild Canada. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments and tell me what animal defines the wild where you live. I'll be reading through and pinning some of my favorites. Thanks for watching.